Every day, people around the globe drink about 225 billion cups of coffee. Alone in the United States, the daily consumption of coffee hits an astonishing 400 million cups, with an average of 3 cups per coffee drinker. This huge demand means that countless individuals are involved in picking loads of coffee beans. But have you ever wondered how 175,000 jars of coffee are made each day? Let's take a peek inside the Nescafe factory to see how one jar comes to life. Coffee stands as one of the most beloved beverages worldwide, ranking just after water in terms of consumption. There's a story that coffee was first found by a shepherd who noticed his goats getting unusually energetic after eating some specific beans. People have been growing coffee for over 1,000 years, and today it's produced in more than 60 countries all over the world. Nescafe's story began in the early 20th century with Swiss chemist Max Morgan, who in 1930 started developing a method to create instant coffee. Nestlé saw potential in Morgan's invention and secured the rights to his patent. They started producing and selling instant coffee under the Nescafe name. The brand grew quickly thanks to significant investment in advertising and promotion, becoming a top name in the coffee market during World War II. For American and Allied soldiers, Nescafe was a key item because it was easy to carry and make in war conditions. After the war, its popularity soared globally. Nescafe continued to evolve, innovating in how they produce and package instant coffee. The flavor of coffee varies depending on where it's grown and how the beans are roasted and blended. Brazil tops the charts as the world's largest coffee producer, contributing about 35% of global coffee production. Coffee begins its journey as delicate flowers, and 9 months later these transform into buds resembling grape-sized berries. The coffee is picked from the plantations when it's ripe, easily spotted by its deep red hue. From the time the coffee flowers to when it's ready for harvest, it usually takes about 6 to 9 months. In half a year, the buds grow and ripen into red cherries that encase the coffee beans. Workers in the fields carefully gather these red cherries, leaving the green ones to mature. They'll come back to the same plants to pick the cherries as they ripen. The pickers aim to have no more than 2 unripe green berries for every 100 leaves they collect, ensuring the quality of the harvest. The harvested coffee is packed into bags and loaded onto trucks. Each bag holds around 2 kilograms of coffee beans, which is enough to make about 200 cups. Hand-picking coffee is tough work, so some farms use a large, 5-meter-tall harvesting machine. This machine does the work of 100 people as it moves down the rows of coffee trees. It has internal rods that vibrate, shaking the ripe cherries off the branches. The fresher the cherries, the better the flavor of the coffee. Once collected, these cherries are taken to a wet mill in the morning for processing. By afternoon at the wet mill, water channels rinse the cherries and funnel them into a large screw conveyor. This leads them to a pulping machine that removes the outer skin and fruit from the beans. A rotating drum in the pulper presses the berries against its wall. This action squeezes the berries, allowing the beans to emerge from the pulper. These beans are then carried by water to 2 large rotating cylinders where they're sifted. This process helps in separating them from any hard, unripe berries that might have slipped through. After this, the beans undergo another water bath. This bath washes off a thick, sugary layer from the beans. Following this step, workers lay the beans out on a cement patio for traditional sun drying. This drying process takes about 4 days. During this time, workers use rakes to turn the beans, ensuring they dry evenly in the sun. Once the beans are dry, they're taken to a polishing machine. Here, large stones effectively remove the husks from the beans. After polishing, the beans, now huskless, are sorted on an oscillating table. This table separates the beans into 3 different weight categories. Each type of coffee bean is carefully bagged, with each bag weighing precisely 69 kilograms before being shipped off to coffee processing facilities. These bags are then sewn shut and stacked, ready for transportation. But what transforms these beans into a delicious cup of coffee? Annually, 35 million tons of freshly harvested fruits reach factories like this one, which is among the largest for instant coffee production in the world. At the Nestlé factory, a team of 890 people work tirelessly to produce soluble coffee, churning out 175,000 jars daily. The process starts with the arrival of coffee beans. 170 tons are delivered from South America to the factory every day. These beans are stored in a massive silo that can hold up to 560 tons. Each day, 1,200 bags of raw materials are brought into the factory where they undergo sampling. This involves piercing each bag to extract a sample of the coffee beans. At the Nescafe factory, 2 main varieties of coffee are used, Arabica and Robusta. Arabica beans are known for producing smooth and aromatic coffee, while Robusta beans are famous for their fuller body and robust flavor. After a batch gets the green light, it moves on to the production line. Here, a mesh filters out any larger residues that might have slipped into the bag. Through a network of pipes, the beans arrive at the cleaning area. In this stage, they go through a machine fitted with various sieves, which removes impurities and selects the best beans for coffee making. Once cleaned, the beans are sorted into silos based on their variety and type, all prepped for the soluble coffee-making process. The next critical step is roasting. The beans are placed in a roaster, where they undergo a transformation at 210 degrees Celsius for 12 minutes. This roasting process is crucial as it develops the beans' aroma, color, and flavor. During this time, the starches in the beans turn into sugars, releasing the aromatic compounds that give coffee its distinctive taste. Roasting also starts to break down the caffeine content in the beans. When coffee beans are roasted longer, they lose more caffeine. They're continuously stirred for an even roast, avoiding any burn. Post-roasting, these beans are ground in an industrial mill into a rough powder. This roasted and ground coffee is then moved to another part of the factory. In large tanks, much like big coffee machines, the coffee mixes with hot water, a step known as extraction. This hot water interaction releases the coffee's flavors, aromas, and key characteristics. The mixture is then heated until it becomes a thick extract, which is spread out on a conveyor belt to the next phase, the freezing room. Here, 30,000 liters of coffee circulate through pipes every hour, heated to 70 degrees Celsius. The heat causes the water to evaporate, which is siphoned off. To fully remove the water, they use a method called freeze drying, which helps to maintain the coffee's rich flavors and scents. Coffee infusion freezes at around -50 degrees Celsius, forming a thin crust that can be easily shattered into pieces. This is then exposed to a vacuum in a process known for preserving the coffee's original flavor. Workers in this section must dress in thermal clothes to withstand the extreme cold of -50 degrees Celsius. As the liquid coffee travels on the conveyor belt, it's hit with a blast of icy air, taking just 2 minutes to freeze into a solid sheet about 8 millimeters thick. Next, this frozen sheet is taken to a crusher that breaks it down into small granules, each between 2 and 3 millimeters. These granules are then placed in shallow trays, with each tray holding 15 kilograms of coffee. That's enough for 75 jars. The trays are then moved into an airlock before being introduced into a massive chamber. The coffee reaches a vacuum chamber where all the air has been removed, and then it enters the drying chamber. Inside the dryer, the ice in the coffee granules melts. However, because of the vacuum, the ice changes directly into a gas without becoming liquid first, a process known as sublimation. After the water is removed, what's left is coffee powder, which is then sent to the filling machine. Here, hundreds of glass jars line up on a conveyor belt. Each jar is filled in less than a second by a machine that can handle 280 jars per minute. It takes over 11 hours to fill the day's target of 175,000 jars. The coffee is vacuum sealed to preserve its quality for up to 24 months. Labels are then added to the jars, which are grouped in packs of 6 before leaving the factory. Finally, these bottles of Nescafe make their way to supermarket shelves. It is now ready to deliver its rich and aromatic experience to coffee enthusiasts globally, both in homes and cafes.